Hello and very warm welcome to my students. This is Dr. Ahmed, and here today we are recording a discussion on the poem titled as The Leap by Daud Kamal. The Leap is a very small poem, and Daud Kamal has tried to put a word into that. This poem is particularly in historical context as well as in the context of the Indian people. Let us see how this poem is there. First of all, let me show you the text of the poem. It's here, The Leap by Daud Kamal. The leap means jump, a very big jump. And as Daud Kamal is a person who took a very big leap in order to conquer the whole humanity or the world, but possibly he could or could not, that is a different topic. But here, the title is being explained in that way. Daud Kamal has used only 9 lines to explain this poem. For example, he says, Alexander on horseback leapt over the Indus here, or so the storytellers say. And on the other side of that hill, in a grove of mango trees, he listened in rapt attention to a naked sadhu talking of immorality. Now, the very first line opens with a famous historical conqueror who came from uh, Europe or from the Greek people, and he was on the horseback. And his being on horseback is especially famous because he crossed the Indus River by sitting himself on the horseback. And that is why the writer uses the word Alexander on the horseback leapt over the Indus here. He says that this is a place where Alexander had traveled or crossed the river by sitting on the back of a horse. He says, although he's not seen him by doing so, but the stories are like that. People have got this thing in their mind. Stories have traveled from one chest of human being to the other chest, and in that way, the stories are around that this is the place where the Alexander the Great had crossed the river. So these 3 lines have very important impact. That first of all, Alexander is being referred to the great man as a conqueror of the whole world as he's supposed to be, and he is sitting on the horseback and daring and very encouraging step that he could cross the Indus River, which is very fast river, very powerful river. It's really very difficult to cross it. Many people have died while crossing it, but Alexander did the same while sitting on the horseback. Or the poet says that these are some of the tales or some of the fictional stories that have been invented about Alexander. But whatever the case may be, what did he find? And on the other side of that hill, in a grove of mango trees, he listened in rapt attention to a naked sadhu talking of immorality. The poet tells us that when he had done this great deed, what he found on the other side, not the ready army, not the ready soldiers, not the weaponry, not any other resistance, but only one man who can be called a sage or a Hindu dervish, that is sadhu, the word used for him. He was sitting in a grove of mango tree and he was singing something, he was speaking something. Alexander stopped there and he continued to talk with that, continued to listen to that person in rapt attention. He was so much wrapped into that. Sadhu was naked altogether, and he was talking about the immorality in the world. He was talking about the eternal life. He was talking about the things which possibly may happen in future. So the poem gives a very important impression, first of all, that what was the style of Alexander when he came to India, that he was on the horseback, he was very much ambitious, he could take big leaps. But the opposite side, that is the Indian side, they were not ready for that, and instead of that, we have a sadhu who is waiting. So the message of peacefulness, message of security, message of love is being promoted not by Alexander. Alexander has come to conquer these people, but on the other hand, the sadhus have this kind of message giving to the people. And besides that, we also have the mango trees, which possibly may be having mangoes on them, and that's also again the type of impression of sweetness of the Indian people. So therefore, on the part of the Indian people, war was not there. They wanted peace, they wanted security. But on the other hand, the invaders who have been coming, like Alexander, they just wanted to fight with the Indians to conquer them and to establish their rule. Though Alexander came very briefly here, but he was able to see the real face of India, the loving and the kind of face where the immorality was being condemned, or where the human life, its improvement was being talked about. So in this way, the difference between the two people and the nations and the states have been talked about here. Giving us the reference of Alexander, the poet has referred to the historical context, but he has also talked about the indigenous things which were available here. For example, the sadhus who were giving these messages, that's the philosophy, that's the intellectual element of India of that time, and then is the mango tree, and that is the stories or the fables which are famous about Alexander the Great. So in this way, the title very much suits with the activity of the poem, that Alexander was leaping forward in order to conquer everything of India, but India resisted in its own way and tried to attract the man, tried to capture his attention, and he was very much wrapped in that, and possibly he got some new lesson and moralizing on the part of the sadhu which he was providing to him. And it also refers to the irony of situation, that why the invaders from outside were able to conquer the Indian territories, because most of the time the Indians were not ready. They were not preparing their war machines. They were not ready with respect to the war strategies, and that is why they continued to sing the songs only. They continued to remain happy. They gave the message of peace, and the invaders did not possibly like that, and that is why they came. So in this way, the poem is significant with respect to the two words, the human beings, that is Alexander and the sadhu. Alexander gives the message of that fighter, and sadhu gives the message of peacefulness. Again, we have the horse there. Horse is also the kind of animal which is used for riding also, but also for war. Most of the time it's associated with the war. Then we have the word Indus, and that is the mighty river. Although we have the big mighty rivers, but still we were unable to cross those rivers even, but the invaders did do that. Mango trees are again the symbol of sweetness there, and the naked sadhu reflects the intellectualism or philosophy which the people of India had. And they have been talking about immorality. Definitely the world is full of that, and that was being condemned on that. So possibly the visit of Alexander the Great is also one of the immoralities which he shouldn't have done, but he has done so, and that is why in a very peaceful way, in a very happy way, in a very pliable way, the message is being given to the invader from the side of the sadhu. So in that way, the poem has got this philosophical element as well, intellectual element as well. We don't find any real rhyme scheme here, only the certain names are there which suggest about the Indianness of this poem and talk about the past history of the poem, and then in this way some of the fabulous element about fiction, about history is also present in this poem. So in this way, that is the poem of the day. Possibly some of you have understood it. If you like it, do not fail to hit the subscribe button and the like button. If you have some queries, post with the poem in comments. Possibly I will be trying to answer that. So till that time, hope to see you again in some next video. Till that time, keep happy, keep peaceful, and keep loving also. Thank you for watching this video.